Welcome, everybody. This is Gamesoverplastic, episode number 27, I believe. This is our 1 year anniversary special. It has been a full year since we started this podcast. Please clap, everybody. Please clap. And what a fitting way to bring in 1 year anniversary than to bring back our very first ever guest, Lockmort. Let's just go ahead and start with the introductions. I'm Midnight, by the way. Lockmort, welcome back to the show. How you doing, my friend?
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me back. I can't believe it's been a year. I remember it like it was yesterday when you guys started this. So congrats. That's amazing. A lot of people start podcasts and then stop them after a while, but you guys kept going. Your success is growing. So very proud of you guys. You're doing awesome. Keep going.
Yes, thank you. My cat is excited as well about our 1 year anniversary. It's been a great time, been a great journey. Couldn't be happier, of course, with the crew that we've assembled. And speaking of that crew, let's go ahead and get into the co-hosts here. We have the man, the myth, the legend, Sean Mason, master of weebery and all things greatness. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Just, getting ready we have a little February vacation coming up from school. I'll be heading down to Florida. I'll be visiting one of our friends, Poot. I'm going to be visiting him in Port St. Lucie. I cannot wait. We're going to go to Met spring training. I'm so excited. I have next week, I have school, and then that following week, I'm off for a week. I can't wait.
Hey, shout out to Poot.
Yeah. Are you guys on trimesters? Is that why you have a fall or a February break?
No, so we don't have a March break. We have like a shorter break at Christmas. Like, how a lot of places get like 2 weeks off?
Mm-hmm.
We just get like a regular week off, and then we get a week in February and a week in April.
Oh, okay.
So we don't have a March break though. March is very long. Like the stretch between February vacation and April vacation is very long. There's no days off. It's extremely long.
So tough being a teacher, having a day off every other week.
All right, see ya.
Damn, roasted. Okay.
I don't care.
And then, of course, last but not least, we have the master of graphics, Hodge. Nothing yet. What else needs to be said? I mean, look at this man. He's a beast. How you doing?
I'm good. I have to ask you, are you doing your best Diglett impression? Because your head is just at the bottom of your camera.
Yeah, I am. I am doing my best. Who is Diglett?
It's a Pokemon. Oh my gosh.
Man, you guys know I've only played one Pokemon. Jesus. I'm not a Pokemon super fan. It was why? I'm sure he was in it, but it's not like I've played a lot of Pokemon to really remember them. I remember Pikachu and Litten.
Oh, of course. Yeah, there you go.
Litten.
Litten, yeah, I liked Litten, man. Litten was cool, dude. Incineroar? Come on, quit hating.
Oh my god.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm happy. I can't believe it's already been a year. It feels like we just started doing this, so it's crazy that we're already a year into doing this podcast, and I'm in my 14th location. So,
yeah,
and I'm happy Locke is back. So this is gonna be a fun topic to talk about. So,
yes, sir. Yes, and speaking of which, that topic, we're going to be getting into our favorite and least favorite video game adaptations. So, of course, TV and movies based on a video game. It's going to be a lot of fun. But before...
Go ahead. I was going to say, it's crazy because there's no bad video game adaptation. So we're really scraping the bottom of the barrel for this one.
Yeah, it was difficult. All right, so let me get in the administrative stuff real quick. Of course, Gamesoverplastic is available on all audio platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, all of them. You can also find us on YouTube with video, cameras, graphics, and everything at youtube.com/@Gamesoverplastic. Excuse me. Please leave us likes, leave us comments, leave questions. If you have write-ins or questions, leave them in the comment section and we will use your questions if it's a good one. We did not get any write-ins, I don't think, on our last episode, so there won't be any in this one, but hey, get us next week. All right. And also subscribe. We're trying to hit 100 subs. We're close. I think we're at like 85, 86 subs, so we're getting there. So if you're on YouTube, hit that sub button if you're enjoying the content even a little bit. We appreciate that. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into some gaming, shall we? Let's go ahead and start with what we are playing, and I want to mix up the order so that it's different from the round robin later. So let's just go ahead and start with, we'll go ahead and start with Sean. What are you playing, sir?
All right, well, I just want to say that I have finished East X. I am currently still going through it. I am gonna plan on getting the platinum there, so I'm going through like a nightmare mode run. I just want to say, it's gonna be very quick. Uh, I love the game. The ending was awesome. You know, I talked about how I had turned more. That I had grown. The game had grown on me last time, and I had talked about it. Karja, she is quickly become one of my favorite East characters ever. She's her whole backstory is awesome. There's a huge twist in the middle of the game, and it really blows your mind. I really like it. The combat definitely grew on me, and I put it on hard difficulty as I got later in the game because I was finding the combat too easy, and it definitely is suited much more for hard mode because just like the way you can parry and the way you can block attacks is awesome. I love the world. The pirate ship combat really grew on me as well. Yeah, the game is overall it was awesome. Really good time. If you're a Yeast fan, you should definitely play the game. And yeah, that's it. I just wanted to give a little update for that for Yeast 10. Maybe one day midnight, if you ever eventually play Yeast 10, we can go into spoilers.
Okay, well, I will probably be playing East 10, but I'll get into what I'm playing later, which is adjacent. So,
Oh,
Okay.
teaser.
I am also playing Pikmin 1. Um, I've never played the Pikmin series. Not a big real time strategy guy, but I decided why don't I try this beloved game of in Nintendo lore? So I decided to try Pikmin 1. So I'm playing it on Switch. I'm not playing the OG GameCube version or the Wii version. And I'm having such a wonderful time. I'm just curious. Any of you guys ever play Pikmin?
no.
No.
Okay, it's such a fascinating game. Like you're these like mini creatures and you're dropped in like basically the real world and you're just running around. You can like find like batteries on the ground and there's like picnic baskets everywhere and it's so cool to just explore these like huge levels and just see like real world objects, but they look huge because obviously the Pikmin are tiny. Pikmin 1 has a time mechanic where you are like there's a day like you have to beat the game in a certain number of days, and if you don't, you lose basically. Yeah, so it's really cool, Pikmin, you run around these crazy worlds with these like real life objects everywhere. It is pretty cool how you have Olimar, he's like the main dude. Hodge, you're familiar with Olimar from Smash, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. You are restricted. There's only three different types of Pikmin though in the game. So there's only yellow, red, and blue right now. Each can do like different things, but I heard as the series goes on, you get more and more Pikmin, and I also heard that there's different abilities for these original three. So I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm only about 4 or 5 hours in, so I am going to play through it, and I am enjoying it. So I do plan on playing Pikmin 2. I do want to eventually just get to all of them, so should be fun.
What
It's good. It's a
what
nice little like chill game.
what console was the original on? Was it GameCube?
Yeah, it was GameCube. It was like a
Okay.
launch year GameCube game.
Okay. I remember I always wanted to play these ones, especially when 4 came out last year or the year before. I wanted to play it, but I just never got around to it. But it's a series that it didn't interest me too much for a while, but when I played Tinykin, which is basically the same thing, you have different Tinykins which have different abilities to help you make, puzzle your way through the world. That people were telling me that's kind of what Pikmin was like, and I was like, oh, I really want to try it. And then 4 looked fun, so yeah, these games look cool. I haven't gotten around to them yet. I want to eventually.
Yeah, you basically just run around the world just collecting things and bringing them back to your ship. But there's like the insect creatures are like huge. So they look like these insane things. They're trying to kill you basically.
Yeah.
Like Grounded.
Yeah, kind of but better.
Nice. Locke, did you ever play that? You didn't, right?
No. I don't play games like that. No. Sorry,
He's
Sean.
not into the little kitty games like I am.
Oh, that I didn't say that. I just didn't grow up with it. I think Nintendo. It's like a Nintendo game, right? You
Yeah.
got to grow up with those games, and I didn't. So I never played it.
When it launched, I was only 5. So I honestly I didn't even know what Pikmin was until Smash Bros came. So Super Smash Bros. Brawl, when I unlocked Olimar, I'm like, who is this guy? And then I looked it up. I'm like, Pikmin, what the heck is that? And then I just never knew about it. But I had a friend who like really liked it, and I'm like, how come you never showed me this game? He's like, I don't know. Just figured you'd never.
I think
Thanks,
Micah's a huge fan. I think, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
she's been. Yeah, she likes the first. I think she likes. She wasn't as high on 4. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's
Maybe I'll try one of
Pikmin.
those when I get the Switch too.
Yeah, they're probably you never know.
Mm.
All right, so that's Pikmin, and then I am playing. Midnight. You told me I had to play this game for our little Secret Santa. So I decided to start playing Sleeping Dogs, and I am actually
Ooh.
playing on Xbox. Guys, I'm playing on Xbox. I know, right?
Wow.
Crazy.
I told you to play because are you using FPS boost? I hope.
I am. Yes,
Nice.
I am.
Yeah, get that 60.
And I am really enjoying myself. Midnight, I want to say thank you for suggesting this. You know my tastes well. I really love the overall world. Wei Shen, he's awesome. Like I
Yeah.
love the whole idea of like an undercover cop. That is like so. I love stories like that. I just love things like that. Running around just like the world and just trying to like navigate where you're going and contact getting in contact with all these different people is really cool. I like taking on the small jobs for the Red Pole Winston Chew. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm only a couple hours in, so I really like the hand-to-hand combat. The parkour style movement is also like really different. I didn't expect that in the game. It definitely feels like a more constrained GTA, but I'm enjoying it. I'm really excited to see where the story goes. Like I said, I'm only a couple hours in. Next episode, I probably will have a lot more to say. But yeah, it really feels like a GTA game, but like a little different. It's set in Hong Kong, so it's a little different. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. The street fights are funny too. Just getting in like street fights with random people. That's always fun.
Did you see they just announced a movie this week?
Yes, I
And
did. Yeah.
maybe a potential sequel at some point? Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of video game adaptations, huh? It all comes full circle.
Oh.
I'm also curious to see because I've already seen a little bit of him being like feeling a little bit like didn't know if he should like stick to his cop routes or be loyalty to his like friends, his old neighborhood. So I'm like kind of wondering where that's gonna go in the future. Like, is there gonna be like some type of choice you can make where you're like loyal to one group? I don't know. I'm interested to see where it goes.
Yeah, I don't know. You'll find out. I love this game so much. What an awesome, unique world being in Hong Kong. I think they did an awesome job recreating the city. I believe they did send a whole bunch of developers over there, and they spent a bunch of time. And they took millions of photos, and they really tried to recreate it. Obviously shrunk down, but they tried to recreate it pretty faithfully. And it's just such a unique vibe because you don't play a lot of games in like a modern day like Hong Kong type setting, you know. And I love like the colors, the lights, the Chinese signs, the music. Have you got to drive around a bit and listen to like the Hong Kong rap and rock and stuff? It's great.
Well, I have driven around a little bit. I haven't really paid attention to the music. I'm not really into that, like the Hong Kong rap music. I've listened to it a little bit. I'm like, yeah, it's not for me. So I kind of just ignore it while I'm driving around. But it is fun. The driving is actually it feels pretty good. I think because this came out. What year did this originally come out? Like
I
2010.
want to say like 2012ish, maybe.
Yeah. Well, originally, if I had to compare it to like GTA 4, I think the driving in this game is so much better than in GTA 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. I think everything is good about this game, honestly.
Yeah, it's good. I'm like glad I'm playing it. I'm a little shocked that I didn't play it back when it came out because I was like such a big like at that time I was so big into GTA. Like I was playing GTA 4 so much at that time. Like even in 2012 I was still playing GTA 4 a lot.
Yeah, I think this game kind of flew a bit under the radar, sadly. It was like a sleeper hit, kind of. But yeah, I love this game, and the deeper you get into it, like you'll get more moves and you'll get more fluent with the combat. And towards the end of the game, I was loving the combat so much, and I was just busting combos on people, and it just felt so fluid and good. So I'm excited to hear what you think later. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Locke or Hodge, did you guys have any thoughts on this game?
A great game. I'm so excited to see what they do with the sequel. It should have gotten a sequel a long time ago. I remember, maybe I'm mistaken, but the driving was like more arcadey, right? Like you could do more stuff. It's not like a really sim experience like in GTA, but the driving lets you do stuff,
It's
right?
it feels very arcadey to me. It
Awesome.
feels so much easier to just pick up and drive around. And I don't know, it's so I really like it. I'm really enjoying it. I think like you have like in GTA when you're driving around, you can just like you randomly hit people and it's like it feels like it's like giant like almost like a movie, almost like you're watching a movie. I don't get that feeling when I'm playing this game.
It also has this really cool feature now. I remember that when you drive or when you do a race, you can see your friends' times too, and you can break them in the single player game. I think it's a race later on that you get to, but you can see
Yeah,
the times of
I haven't
your.
done any races yet. Yeah.
Oh, okay. You can see the times of your PSN friends, or Xbox friends in this case, I guess, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you'll be able to see my time. Are we friends on Xbox? If not, add me.
I don't know. I'm using Claire's profile, so
Okay. Well, you can still add me if you want. Either way. But yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying the game. Is that the last game you had, Sean? I think
yeah,
so.
that's it. Yep.
All right. Are you satisfied? Any more thoughts on your games?
I am. Well, I just realized this game was released on my birthday.
Ooh,
Really
it was
cool.
fated to be.
All right.
All right, then. So that was what Sean's been playing. Some great games, I must say. Let's see. Let's go. Who do we want to go to next? We will go to Lockmort. Lock, what have you been playing, sir? This is a big one. I'm excited to hear about this.
Well, I've only been playing one game, and that's Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I've been looking forward to this game for many, many years, and it's so far, it's my game. I would say it's my game of the decade so far, and it will be. I think it's on par with The Witcher 3 and Red Dead Redemption 2. It's that good. I think a lot of people will agree with that. A lot of people who play it, a lot of people who won't play it won't agree with that probably. But I think it's level of detail, its story, its characters, the way that the simulation kind of works in medieval times kind of reminds me a lot of Red Dead Redemption 2. The way the map works reminds me a lot of The Witcher 3. It's amazing. It's everything I wanted it to be. It's exceeding my expectations every day. I think it released on Tuesday, so 5 days ago or 4 days ago from when we're recording this, and I already put over 20 hours into it. So it's downright amazing. I can't wait. I've heard from people who completed it that they poured like over 150 hours into it. So this is all I'll be playing probably for the next month. But I'm so excited. I'm so excited to see you guys play it too, because have any of you guys played the first one?
I played the first one for a couple hours after hearing you just talk about how amazing the game is, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is awesome!" And Claire was like, "Yeah, we've had it for a while. He's never played it, but she's played it. And she's like I said, she's loving Kingdom Come 2 right now, and she loved the first one. So, but I am probably just going to jump into the second one."
Well, yeah, I know Midnight is going to love it for sure because he's like a Bethesda fan. But you two, I'm so excited because you two, I have a beef with you two because you talk shit about Skyrim, I heard, which is something that can't go unpunished.
Game. Oh. Terrible game.
Okay, go. Okay, well, have fun with Pikmin. If you, I'm very excited to hear your thoughts. If you don't like Skyrim, what you think of this game, because it's basically a way more involved Skyrim, way better in my opinion too. So I'm very excited. If you two ever get to it, what you guys think? Because Midnight, I know you're gonna love it for sure. There's no question.
Yeah, I'm sure I will. I played the first one a bit. In like two different sessions. I dropped it and then I restarted it and I played it. I told you before, I think I got to the point where you like hang out with that priest and get wasted in that town, and then you end up filling in and giving a sermon or something. So I think I was semi far, but I don't know. Like I never really got a hang of the combat. The combat is really difficult and unintuitive feeling, and you kind of start off with like no skills at all, and you really have to kind of build by doing, which is kind of like a Bethesda thing, the more you use the skills, it levels up, becomes better. So I didn't really give it a full shake as much as I would like to. What I think I will probably do is I will watch the amazing recap that you did on your YouTube channel.
Oh, thank you.
Let me, by the way, for the listeners, let me give a quick shout out to our boy Lockmort. He has a new YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/@lockplays, LOCKPLAYS. It'll be in the description too. Make sure you go check out and support our boy Lockmort on his new YouTube venture. I can see he has 6 videos out right now, and they've all been amazing. He's doing great work.
One video every week. Tomorrow's Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
Yeah, can't wait.
And next week Avowed, so we'll see.
Ooh, really can't wait for Avowed. Yeah. So yeah, make sure you check and support our boy. But anyway, I will probably watch your full spoiler recap that you did, the story recap, and then I'll probably get into KCD 2 when the time comes. But it's not yet.
Sure.
You guys have thoughts on this at all?
Locke, I did have a student yesterday. I was covering a study hall yesterday, and I had a student just go, he was talking to his friend. He goes, "That Kingdom Come game, that looks awesome." And he's like, "Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna go out and get it." So I thought of you immediately. I was like, "Wow, can't
Nice,
believe
good
it."
student. Give him
The
an A.
youth, it's going to the youth.
Good, good. Yeah, it's doing amazing too. It's selling like nuts. It sold like 1 million copies in 24 hours, which is nuts for a game like this for a European dev. So
You're telling me the anti-woke boycott did not work?
it's crazy. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's nuts. Yeah.
But I gotta say, I had actually never heard of this series until you talked about it, and so I was like, I've said this before. So with the Skyrim thing, I think I just didn't like it because it just doesn't age well. I don't think it's one of those like I know I love I love Kingdom Hearts. Obviously, I've talked about it a billion times, but a lot of people say those controls are dog shit now. And it might be true, but I play it. I grew up on it, so I'm used to it. So I think that's kind of what happened with Skyrim is it came out when that was intuitive gameplay and now it's bad. So, so I think that's because Sean didn't like the story. I actually liked the story from what I got through. It's just the gameplay was, I couldn't do it anymore. And so I fell off of it, but Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, it looks cool. I'm like I said again, it takes a lot for me to get into a medieval fantasy type setting. So that's kind of, so it's one of those where it's like maybe once it's on sale or something, I'll give it a shot, but it's not what I'm gonna sprint into. But I do have to say, as someone who's never played it and didn't finish Witcher 3 or Red Dead 2, that comparison is terrible. So
yeah, I get that. If you don't like because it really is a combination of those two games with Skyrim. So if you don't like any of those three, then you'll probably won't like it.
I've never played this.
I've talked about it before. The thing I didn't like about Red Dead 2 was I got into it and I enjoyed like the story and acting, all that stuff. But the reason I actually fell off, I was getting annoyed from the hunting and you have to shave and all that kind of crap. But the thing that made me fall off was I was on my way to a mission and you have to do like the scenic route where you like watch the camera and they talk and all that kind of shit. It was a 10-minute drive and it crashed 3 times after I got to the destination. And so I spent over a half hour of my life just trying to get to this mission. And I'm like, I'm done. I'll wait for it to be patched and all that. So I'm waiting for them to, I don't know. They've re-released GTA 5 17 times. I don't know how they haven't given us a 60 FPS patch for Red Dead 2. It's
crazy.
I don't get it. So if that ever comes out, I will jump back into it because I still own it, obviously. So I do want to, because Red Dead 1 is, it's the only Rockstar game I've ever given a shit about. Like I've said, I've played GTA 3. I played a little bit of 4. I've never played 5. Honestly, I'm the only person on the world on the planet who hasn't played it apparently. But so I've never really cared about Rockstar. But Red Dead 1 and Undead Nightmare are two like amazing games. So I do want to give Red Dead 2 another shot, but The Witcher 3, it didn't grab me. I don't know what it was. That one just didn't grab me. But yeah, so I mean, Kingdom Come, it's like I said, it's one of those, if it's ever on sale, I'll give it a shot, but it's definitely not like top of the priority for me kind of thing.
I get that. Yeah.
There is just no chance, in my opinion, from knowing you, there is just no chance that you would ever really play or especially beat that game. It's so big and so complex and convoluted. I feel like you would instantly be like, nope, I'm out.
You might be right about me finishing it, but trying it, no, I've tried games I don't normally like. And I mean, like I said, I tried Hades because it was on Game Pass and now it's one of my favorite games of all time. I would never would have thought I would have liked a roguelike, but it's like I said, one of my favorite games of all time. So who knows? Nice. It might grab me. Sometimes it just takes one special game to grab you and put you into that genre. So
true.
Hodge, we know you're not going to like it. There's a 2 in the title. You're not going to like it.
Yeah, that's true. I do hate sequels of all kinds, except for Ripto's Rage. But yeah,
all right,
that's cool.
Good stuff. All right, so that's what Lockmort has been playing. Kingdom Come Deliverance. Are you satisfied with that, sir?
Yeah. Nice.
Right. Excited to see and hear more about that on your channel and whatnot. Discord. All right. So let me get into what I've been playing real quick. I'm only playing one game currently. I am playing some Weebery. It is Ys 8. The Lacrimonia of Dana or whatever the fuck it's called. I don't know. Ys 8. This game's pretty cool. I'm enjoying it so far. I'm like 10 to 12 hours ish in right now. I'm like level 28, 29. I've been running around the island, rescuing the castaways. It's pretty cool. I have a party of 4. My favorite 3, Sean, are of course the main character. What's his name? Adel or whatever.
Adel, yeah.
Yeah, the main character Adel. Of course, the chick. What is her name? Why am I
You don't even
blanking on
know the
her name?
character's name. You don't even know the character's names, but you like the game.
Is it Roxia or something?
Keep going.
And also, and then the fat dude
All
with
right,
the
there we go.
anchor.
Okay.
There you go. So that's my favorite part. It's like Laxia, Lacria.
Yeah, it's Laxia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I probably could have told you the names very easily, but for some reason I just blanked there, like on the spot while I was talking. I just had a moment. This is my first coffee of the day, and I barely touched it. So bear
Raxia,
with me, guys.
Laxia, same thing.
Yeah. No, but honestly, I really do like the game. I like the characters. There's also like this dude that like is like the edge lord with like the black hat. He has like a gun with like a bayonet on it, and he's pretty sweet too. And honestly, I want to put him in my party, but the way they did it is there's like 3 elements. There's like the slash, there's pierce, and then there's crush. And he's pierce as well. I don't want 2 pierces. I want to have all 3 elements so that I can switch through them. So he's just kind of riding the bench right now, but he is a cool character though. I like his abilities too. He like poisons people.
Yep.
So yeah, so far so good. Like I am enjoying it. The story is starting off a little bit slow. It's kind of like peaceful, like rescue people and scout the island vibes right now, but it's starting to ramp up. They just had a big reveal that there's a boogeyman out there. And then of course we're dealing with beasts on the island. So it's pretty cool. I am enjoying it. My one complaint about this game, Sean, and this might be just be a me issue, but I don't think it is because I saw other people complaining, is that the map system is a little bit bad. Like I find myself feeling lost a lot of the times. Like when you open the map and you select the waypoint, like it says go here for the main quest. Like it doesn't give you a path or it doesn't indicate which exit to the map that you want to go. So I find myself sometimes, a lot of times, like running around randomly, like lost, trying to figure out where the hell I'm supposed to go to how to find this specific area where the objective is. And it's frustrating at times. But then eventually you stumble on it and then the story resumes and you're like, yay, this is good. So I do wish the maps was slightly better. I wish there was like an indicator, even if they just like put like a little color coded indicator on the exit, like this is the exit that's going to take you where you want to go type stuff. But I like it. I think it's a good game, and I know it's going to get much better. I haven't even met like the main character on the cover, Dana or whatever, the girl with the blue hair. She's like on the cover. I haven't met her yet. I know she's going to play a key role. But yeah, it's good. I'm definitely enjoying it, and that's my initial thoughts for VIII. I'm not that far. Sean, what do you think about this game and that?
Yeah. So you had mentioned the slow start. East games are notorious for slow starting. Like all of them start, with the exception of East Origins, which I don't even really consider because that's like a completely different character. It's completely different. It's set 300 years before any of the other games. All of them start off extremely slow, and it's very much like let's go out and save these people, and then you get into like the real plot and the real thing. I do agree with the map system. It does not really get any better as in any of the other games. That's like a problem I have with the East games. Like there's like no indicator on like what exit to go to, which I find so weird because in Trails, which is the same developer, they do it in Trails, and I'm like, how do you not just like, you know what I mean? And it's weird because they use a lot of the same assets for both games, a lot of the same art style, a lot of the same music as well. I was going to ask you, what do you think of the music so far?
It's good. I think the music's good. I think it's actually really good. But the thing is, I don't find it to be super deep. It seems like the same, like 2 or 3 themes kind of over and over all the time. But the themes that we do have are good. Like the battle theme is upbeat and fun. At times when it's like more chill and you're at camp, it kind of has like this theme that reminds me of Zelda a little bit. It's really good. It's good. It's just not a ton of music. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I'm enjoying like the really bright, colorful, weeby art style. It's something that I'm not really used to, but like it's a different vibe. Like it really pops, especially on the OLED, like the bright colors. You got the red hair and the orange hair and stuff. And it's interesting. You know, I'm not used to these types of games, but it's not bad. I will definitely beat the game. I'm playing it on normal, by the way, not easy. I thought about putting it on easy, but I was like, nah, I'm a Chad. You know, I can play this. So I've been playing it on normal, and it hasn't been too difficult. I haven't had to lower the difficulty or anything. Some of the boss fights have been pretty good. The last boss fight I had was the first one that was actually slightly challenging, but it was also really fun. Like this, it was like this turtle thing under the water that had like 8 little pods on top of his head, and it was pretty cool. Like you can see like air bubbles when he's under the water, so you know where he's going to pop out, and then you just dodge right when he pops out, and then you jump to avoid the splash, and then you just beat his ass. It was a fun little loop. I'm enjoying the game. I think it's good. Lockmort,
So
I know
you're
love
there. You've
these.
put. Hang on.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say you've put 10 hours in and you're only there. Wow, you're playing. You're going like at a very slow pace.
I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm level like 28, 29.
I
I found
was
like
just
12 or
saying.
13 of the castmates. Am I going slow? Probably because I've been getting lost running around the damn map.
Probably. Yeah.
I think the last thing that happened, Sean, is there was a reveal about a killer. Slight spoiler,
Mhm.
I guess. I
Okay.
could bleep that if needed, but yeah. So like that, we found out that there's some kind of killer, and then there was a big raid with the big dragon dude, the primordial.
Oh yeah.
So that's kind of where
You're
I'm at,
getting.
and
Yeah. The game
and
starts to pick up a lot there.
yeah, and the girl, she climbed up onto the top of the tower, kind of Final Fantasy VII vibes, and she kind of like she kind of explained why she's been a cunt all this time a little bit. She's opening up a bit, so that's good.
You're about to meet Dana, so you're about to meet her. So
Okay, I figured.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not. I don't know. How far do you think I am? Like 25%? Not even.
no, East 8's actually one of the longer East games. Like I think it's pretty sure it's like the longest game. It's like about 45 hours, 50 hours.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so that's what I've been playing. East 8. Locke or Hodge, any thoughts on this here? I know you guys love these games.
Maddie recommended me this game a long time ago, but I never played it. But he said it was amazing, so I trust him.
Yeah, it's pretty good. All right. Last but not least, Hodge, what have you been playing, sir?
Well, yeah, I've been playing, I hop into my VR every once in a while, or, my occasional live service games that I'm always playing. But I beat Indiana Jones and the Great Circle finally. So as I talked about last week, there was a plot point that pissed me off so much that I almost dropped the game. But I did see my way through it. I enjoy it. The plot, I'm just, it ruined it for me. It was very Disney Indiana Jones that I couldn't, that a lot of it didn't hit. I liked that it was biblical, like the original movies, as opposed to, fucking aliens and whatever the hell Dial of Dysentery did. But the plot, but other than the plot, I loved the game play. I loved, except for the last open world, it kind of sucked. You have to be in a boat traveling around rivers and shit to get to islands, and it's annoying. But the gameplay was fun. I went back after kind of letting myself cool down from the plot for a few days. I went back to clean up everything, and sadly, one of the trophies achievements is glitched right now, so I can't get 100% on the game because. In the game, I don't think any of you have played it yet. Or have you played it, Locke? Did you play Indy?
Yeah, I loved it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. But so you know how you go around, you take photos with your camera and shit. There's one that if you don't take the picture before the end of the game, it's glitched and you can't take it. So it's kind of partially missable right now. I'm hoping they patch it so you can go take that one last photo and get the achievement for taking all the photos.
Yeah.
But other than that, the gameplay was awesome. Wasn't big on the plot near the end of it, but overall, I'd say it was kind of like a 7 out of 10 game for me. I'm happy. Definitely, it was better than when they revealed it. What I thought it was going to be. I was like, how is Machine Games going to? Because it should have been, in my opinion, a little more Uncharted than Wolfenstein. But overall, a studio that makes Wolfenstein fast-paced action shooter games, making a slower puzzler kind of game, they did a very good job with that. So yeah. So what do you think of the game then, Locke?
I loved it. It was my runner-up to Game of the Year last year. Well, third place actually. I thought it was great, but I also love Indiana Jones, and I hate those last two.
You can
movies.
cuss, it's fine.
Okay, I fucking hate those last two movies. They're abysmal to me. Both the Crystal Skull and especially the Dial of Destiny. I hate those movies. So to get like a good indie story, even though you didn't like the plot, I get that the plot was very Disney like, but to get like a movie that actually fits in the lore and have a villain that fits in the villain role was really special to me. So I really, really liked it. You're right, though, because when I played it, I was expecting a more Uncharted-like experience. So when I didn't get that and it was more like Dishonored, I was pleasantly surprised because that made it a little bit more interesting to me. But I kind of want to see what they do with a more action-heavy game as well. Like,
and the fact that Disney upon release, seeing the critical success, the fact that Disney picked up the phone was like, "You're making another one." It's like awesome. I want another one. Yeah. Hopefully, I don't want to spoil what ruined it for me, but
was it the sidekick?
No, No, because I like Temple of Doom, and that sidekick is way fucking worse. So I didn't mind her. She obviously the arbitrary. It's 2024, so one of the characters has to be a lesbian kind of side plot was annoying, but especially in the 40s when that would have been acceptable. But or 30s. But other than that, it was the characters and all that. And Troy Baker, like I said, did an amazing job. Like he sounded like. He didn't do much like enunciating. It was mostly kind of the mumbly Harrison Ford, which he was able to do. When he raised his voice, it was a little off, but yeah, overall, I liked the characters and all. Like you said, the villain, he's a very, very Indiana Jones Nazi evil character. Yeah. It's very good, and how it ends with him is actually, I liked that part of how it kind of, because it was very Holy Grail kind of ending, and so I liked that kind of stuff. But yeah, there's just a moment. It's not really a spoiler to say they go to Shanghai, and how they get there is what killed it for me. That legitimately almost made me drop the game. And so that was what ruined it for me. But overall, I like kind of the reveal of what they're looking for and all that. Like that was cool. It's just kind of what it did. I wasn't big on. But other than that, like it definitely did feel way more Indiana Jones than either of those dog shit movies that came out. Because
those movies suck.
Yeah, they're horrible. Like
I didn't watch the last one.
I didn't think it could get worse than Crystal Skull, but it did. Dysentery is even worse somehow. Yeah. It got worse than getting in a fridge to survive a nuclear blast. Somehow it got worse than that. Like it was terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I know I sounded very hateful when I was, talking about the plot, but overall it was still good. It's not as good as the original 3 movies, but it's way the fuck better than the 4th and 5th movies. That's for sure.
Nice. I'll have to play that sometime. I'll put it on the backlog.
Hearing it's much after everything I've heard about it. Hearing it's much more like Dishonored. Like that's got me even more excited for it. I'm not the biggest Indiana Jones fan. I didn't even see the movies. I only saw the first 3 movies, and I saw them last year. That's the first time I ever watched them. I enjoyed them, but I wasn't like over the moon for them. But hearing like it's Dishonored has me hyped.
Yeah. It's
you don't need to see the other movies, so it's fine.
No,
I didn't even. No, they don't exist, right?
Yeah.
No, there's only 3 movies. Yeah.
Okay. There's only 3.
All right, boys. Any final thoughts that you have on the games here before we move on? Everyone good?
Yeah.
All right. Some great games. We love video games, don't we? All right.
Oh yeah.
Let's go ahead and transition and move into our main topic of discussion. And by the way, this reminded me a little bit of a segue, Hodge, when you're talking about Indiana Jones. And this topic reminded me, I want to watch an adjacent film, kind of. I want to watch, did anyone watch that 2018 Tomb Raider movie?
Of course.
I want to watch that. I'm going to watch that soon. I think I never saw it. It looks interesting.
It was okay. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen, but it's definitely not like a masterpiece by any stretch.
All right. Good. Well, I told our boy Sensei, I was like, can you hook this up?
Yeah.
He's the plug.
I prefer the Angelina Jolie movies to that one, but yeah.
Okay. Locke, what were you going to say?
It has a good villain. Walton Goggins is in it, and he's awesome. He's amazing.
I love him so much.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
He is awesome. I suspect we might be talking about him here in a bit. All right, boys, let's get into this. So our main topic of discussion, as previously mentioned, we are going to be doing our top 3 and worst 3 video game adaptations of all time, whatever, in our opinions. And we're going to go round robin, just like you see on the video and the camera. So we're going to go Midnight, Sean, Hodge, Locke. That's going to be the order. We're going to do our good 3, then our bad 3, and so on and so forth. So let's go ahead and get it started, shall we, boys?
Yeah.
All right. Let me pull up my notes here because my memory's terrible. All right. So we're going to start with our favorite adaptations of all time. And at number 3, and these are in order for me anyway, I did. My number 3 favorite video game adaptation is a show that I am watching currently right now. I haven't finished it yet, so maybe this is a little bit cheating, if you will, but I love it. I like it. And it's going to be Arcane League of Legends on the Netflix. I am in season 2 right now. I'm about 3 episodes in. I do like this show quite a bit, as is evident from it being in my top 3 here. I do, for some reason, find that sometimes I don't have a strong urge to go in and watch it for some reason, but as soon as I fire it up, I'm instantly hooked, and I'm like, this is so good. I love it. I don't know what that's all about, but
it's a heavy show. You have to really be in the mood to want to take it in.
It is heavy. It is heavy. And I found the first season, even though it was great, there were times that I was a little bit disappointed because it didn't go exactly how I wanted it to. Of course, I wanted the happy ending, and you don't really get the happy ending so much with this. But it's good. It's really good. Amazing art, awesome story, great characters. I like all the characters, and it's really good. And man, season 2 so far has been like a big step up from season 1. Like they really ramped up the drama and the action and the surprises, if you will. It's been very, very action packed and very good. So Arcane is going to be my good number 3. Any thoughts on that, boys? If you're going to mention it later, then you don't have to really get into it.
Does it make you want to play League of Legends?
Not at all. No.
That's the correct answer. That's the correct answer.
And I think it's failing at what it's trying to do then.
Potentially, yeah. But it does make me somewhat interested to know more about these characters. So if I was somebody who was slightly inclined to play MOBAs like that, I probably would go play League of Legends, honestly. But I'm not somebody who's inclined to play these click 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 MOBAs. No, that's not me. I'm not doing that. That's not me. We're not doing that, boys. So nope, not gonna play it. But I'm sure there's definitely some people that have gone and played the game as a result. Definitely. Yeah, it's good. I would like to know more about these characters, because you see these characters show up. You got the dude with the freaking robot arm, and you're like, oh, I wonder what his backstory is. I could play the game and learn more, but no, I'm not gonna do that. No.
This is what Overwatch should have done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or Concord should have did this.
Concord, yeah.
Greatest game ever.
Any thoughts on this before we move on?
I'm going to be talking about it, so I don't have much else to add. It's fantastic. I'll stay there.
All right. Moving on. Sean Mason, what is your good adaptation number 3?
All right, my good adaptation for my number 3 is the Super Mario Brothers movie. I absolutely adore this movie. I think it's fantastic. I think it's arguably one of the best children's movies out there right now. I've seen it maybe 4 or 5 times. Even like my high school students even enjoy it. Like last year, they after we had like our state mandated testing, and it takes like half the day. The second half of the day, I'm always like, all right, guys, what do you guys want to watch? And a lot of them, like they're freaking 17, 18 years old. They're like, oh, let's watch the Mario movie. Like, all right, perfect. I think it does a great job. I think it gives a lot of fan service to Mario fans. There's a lot in there. You have like your Mario, you have your Luigi, you have your Peach. I think they did a really good job. The one thing I don't like about it, I do not like Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong. I think it's horrendous. And now with the freaking Switch 2 reveal and the Mario Kart, and they look like Donkey Kong looks like Seth Rogen, I cannot. If his voice is in that new Mario Kart game, I am going to be so mad. I'm going to be so mad, because that's the only like part of the movie I don't like. This actually got my dad, who's a noted non-Nintendo fan, lapsed Nintendo fan. He actually enjoys this movie, and it makes him, every time he watches it, he makes him boot up Mario 3 and go play it.
Oh,
so
nice.
yeah, nice. I really like this movie. I think they did a really good job, and I'm excited to see what they do with the future, because they're definitely going to do like something. Like, obviously they're making a sequel. We already know that. It would not shock me if they did like a TV series based off of like a side character. Like, I could see Toad getting his own side TV series. I could even see Luigi doing like a Luigi's Mansion show, like a.
Oh, I would love
like
that.
Each episode's its own, but each episode's like its own standalone thing where he's just running around catching ghosts. I don't know. Yeah. I think it'd be cool. I enjoyed it. I'm not big on like the everyone was like, oh, Peaches, that song Peaches. I don't really care for that. That doesn't no. But
it was funny, but it got overplayed very quickly.
Yeah. Although I do think Jack Black did a really good job as Bowser.
Mm-hmm.
You know about the Peaches song from the Dead Presidents of the USA or whatever? Remember that? Remember that? Moving to the country, gonna eat a lot of peaches.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
No,
guys remember that?
no,
It's a deep cut.
I
A
don't
great
know
song,
that
yeah.
actually.
Oh.
Well, you're not as old as me. Go listen to that later, boys. It's good. All right, Super Mario Brothers is your pick. Any guys? Got any thoughts of that before we move on?
Well, good choice.
Yeah. This is not on my list. It's an honorable mention of mine. I was going to kind of say a couple honorable mentions at the end when we're done, but it was definitely an honorable mention. I really enjoyed this movie. My biggest complaint, actually, even more than Seth Rogen as DK, was the dog scene at the start. That was very Illumination of like Secret Life of Pets type of scene.
Yep.
I did not like that at all. And then the fact that they had to include like pop songs. It's like like the Mario world universe has so much good music. You don't need to include licensed music like that. Like when they get to the DK world and Take on Me starts playing, it's like, why? Why does this need to play? Like, just play like a Donkey Kong Country song or something. Like, you don't need this music in here. And so that's the kind of Illumination stuff that I don't like. Like, the Despicable Me movies are funny and like, don't get me wrong, I like them, but that kind of stuff just bothers me, especially when you're like, don't take us out of this world by playing real world stuff. It should be Mario Universe exclusive. And so that's really what bothered me about the movie. But overall, it was definitely way better than what I thought it was going to be when they announced it. That's definitely for sure. It was a very fun movie that was like, it was a swan song to the series. And so I liked it for that. But yeah, those two minor nitpicks are really my only complaint about it.
All right. Satisfied, Sean?
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we have Hodge. What is your good 3, sir?
I am going to go with Fallout. As someone who Fallout is actually the Bethesda world that I like the most. Even though, as I've said before, very controversially, Starfield is my favorite Bethesda game that I played. I thought, other than the loading screens, I actually love that game. But
great game.
Yeah, but Fallout is the world that I like the most. I love that post-apocalyptic, retro, future 50s. Like, it's awesome. I love that aesthetic so much. And the show did such an amazing job of, like, I understand, like, the hardcore Fallout fans are kind of like, oh, you're breaking canon by doing this, that, and the other thing. But as someone who's not that deep into the lore, I don't care. So what they did, Ella Purnell is so charming in that show. The only complaint I have is, what's his name? The guy who's the soldier who lets his buddy die so he can take the arm.
Maximus?
Yeah, Maximus. He's the only character who I was like, he's not that great. But Walton Goggins in that show, so good. Love it. And the opening of just them being at the party and she goes, what's the thumbs up thing? He goes, oh, it's if your mushroom cloud is bigger than your thumb, blah, blah, blah. And then she sticks up her thumb and goes, Dad. and you just like, oh, you're horrified. Like the world is ending. And so it was just a great way to start a show. And yeah, I loved it. I'm excited for what it leads into. I'm definitely seeing, as I don't want to spoil what happens at the end or what reveals at the end, but it makes me want to play a certain Fallout game that came out a long time ago in preparation for it. So so I love that show. And so, yeah, that's my number 3.
Nice.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I'll talk about that later. So no thoughts. You guys have thoughts?
I'll get to it later.
About it later.
Yeah.
All right. I figured this might come up. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, boys. Let's keep it moving. We have Lockmort. What is your good number 3?
Well, I cheated. And I'm going to tell you why I cheated, because I thought this was going to happen. I thought there was going to be a shit ton of overlap because there are not that many good adaptations. So what I did, I flipped it for my number 3. The other ones are fair. I didn't cheat there. But for my number 3, I cheated because I picked a comic or a movie that was turned into a game. So I did it the other way around. And it's one of the most underrated games of all time. I think so, at least. It's a game that made me laugh. It's a game that didn't make me cry, but it was emotional. It had a really great story. It came out in 2021, and the game was Guardians of the Galaxy. I never understood why this game didn't sell, or I did understand why this game didn't sell, because the marketing around it was atrocious. They did a really bad job marketing it, because they kind of made it seem like it was the Avengers again, and the Avengers marketing was was
Yeah.
bad, but this game is nothing like the Avengers. The story is fantastic. I thought it was such a heartwarming, super simple but great story. The characters did a way better job in the game than they did in the movie, I think, with the characters. But what really hit me, I just replayed it again last week because I want to make a video about it. And what really hit me is that the script doesn't stop. It's nonstop from the second you start the game. It's nonstop talking until the end. I don't know how they did it. I tried to break the game by just standing still for a while, but it just keeps going. They just keep talking all the time, which is amazing. I can't think of any other game that has ever done that in the way that they did it here, because the characters also comment on what you're doing. Like if you're walking into a wrong room, they yell at you like, "Where are you going?" Like it's so reactive to everything you're doing, which is amazing. I think the combat was a little bit hit or miss. It could have been better. It was fun. It was serviceable. Nothing special. But yeah, this was such a fun adventure to me. I love this game. I love it so much. So sorry for cheating, but
All right,
No,
well, that totally doesn't count. But we'll allow it. We'll allow it since you're a guest. Hodge, you were starting to talk. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I really liked it. I actually dropped it. It's not because it was anything to do with the quality of the writing or gameplay or anything. It was because I got to oh god, like the Nova Corps station or whatever. I can't remember what it was exactly, but I got there and there's this little optional dialogue thing where I think it's Drax. He's looking at a vending machine that has like something Nova related on it, and so there's a dialogue option to go over and talk to him about it. And I did it. And we both were just standing there doing nothing, and it froze. And so I was like, God damn it. So I restart the checkpoint, and the checkpoint is me standing there at the thing frozen. And I'm like, God damn. So I broke my game. And so I just dropped it. I'm like, maybe a couple patches down the road, I'll pick it back up and play it again when I'm less frustrated about the fact that I just put, I don't know how many hours into this game and it crashed on me. Or it died on me. So I was very pissed off about that because I was really enjoying it. I like the Guardians of the Galaxy. The first movie, I actually like the comic. I read a lot of the comics, and the first movie was fantastic. The second two, I don't have to talk about. But that game is, I really enjoyed what I played of it, but until it crashed. So I am looking forward to going back to it one day. But yeah, that's a good choice.
I'm starting to notice a theme here. You're kind of like the GJ of the podcast. Are you always having tech issues? Like first Skyrim, and then earlier you were talking about another game that broke on you, and then this game broke on you too. Like, what's going on, man? You just cursed?
Well, before I answer that, I do have to say that those Skyrim videos,
Red Dead,
I've watched them a couple times where my cart at the start of the game is just doing.
Oh yeah, your cart was raving. Yeah, it was raving.
But no, my mom has a family motto for us. If it weren't for bad luck, we'd have no luck at all. So that is kind of how I live my life, and yeah, everything always breaks on me and shit. So yeah, that's my luck.
Hodge, are you like Stanley Yelnats?
Pretty much, yeah. I need to find the cursed treasure so I can undo my family curse because that was some bullshit.
All right, Sean, you got any thoughts on Guardians of the Galaxy there?
I've never played it. Interested, but never played it. I'm not into like Marvel, so I like Spider-Man. That's really it, and X-Men. That's about it.
Yeah. Right on. Yeah. This is a good pick, although it's not a valid pick, but it is good. I did also play the Guardians of the Galaxy video game. Shout out to Game Pass. It was on Game Pass, so I was like, why not? It's free. I'm going to play it. So I downloaded and I played it and I beat it. And yes, it's a great game. Awesome story. They never shut up, but in a good way. There's constant like exposition in the background and laughing and arguing and stuff. And it's really good. I also love like the small elements in this game. Like there was like that random like fridge or whatever that was always open on your ship, and you would close it, and then you would come back later and it would be open again, and you would close it, and you would come back later, it'd be open again, you would close it for no reason. Like they never explained or paid it off or anything. It was just a fun little Easter egg. Like it was just always open. It was a good game. It was good. I enjoyed it, and people should definitely play it if they haven't. If you find it on a sale or on a subscription or whatever, if you're interested, just buy it and play it. because it is fun. And it's a shame that that terrible Avengers game was so bad that it tainted this. People were like, we don't want another shit Marvel game. Fuck off, you know?
Yeah, because the style of the two games looked similar. Like they were both kind of cartoonish but realistic. So I think some people thought like, oh, is this a sequel to that dog shit Avengers game kind of thing?
Yeah.
And yeah, that definitely tainted it because I never played the Avengers game, but my brother, who is a much bigger Marvel fan than me, hated it, and he gives bad MCU movies like a B- as the worst rating because he's that big into Marvel, but he hated that game. So yeah.
All right, good stuff, boys. Let's keep it moving now. So I'm up next, and we're going to go to the bad now. We're going to get to the bad side of things. So my number 3 worst or bad adaptations, I went with the first Super Mario Brothers movie, the one from the 90s or whatever. This was horrible. For my bad ones, I've found that I don't really remember a lot of the details, probably because they sucked, and they're all old too. They're from like the newest one is from like 2005. So I don't remember everything about this, but I just remember that it was super cringe, horribly acted, like a cheesy, stupid plot. And it was really bad. It was so bad, in fact, that Nintendo basically gave up on their whole idea of creating movies until just recently. They just started again, like last year or whatever, or maybe the year before. I don't know. But yeah, this film was terrible. And yeah, it kind of scarred my childhood a little bit. Did you guys watch this? What do you guys think about this one here?
I've never seen it, but I've done so much. I've watched like videos of like the behind the scenes stuff of the movie, and it is insane how this movie was filmed and the stuff that was going on. You had like a drunk Luigi running around. You had like just the characters constantly fighting with each other. First of all, whoever greenlit like a real life, like a real human playing Bowser, that is such a weird idea. The whole thing is just messed up. I don't know how Nintendo greenlit this.
It's one of those movies where it was embarrassed of the source material and it wanted to monetize it, but it didn't want to be associated with it. So it was just like it was Mario in basically name only, and it was just a terrible fucking movie. It was, and apparently the directors were like relentlessly horrible. So like everyone was just like, this is going to be the worst fucking movie ever made. Like while making it, like this is going to be terrible. No one is going to watch this. So yeah, it's I didn't include it on my list because it's so obvious of a choice. Not saying you shouldn't have picked it, but because I knew it would be on someone's thing and it's such an obvious choice, I was like, I'm not even going to bother putting it on my list because it's just that fucking terrible.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Yeah. Because it should be number 1 for me. It would have been number 1 for me. I mean, but yeah.
Well, to me, it's so bad that it's good. I don't like this movie, but I also didn't put it on my list because I watched it as a kid, and as a kid I loved it because I didn't understand it was bad. But now that I rewatched it, I think I rewatched it like 2-3 years ago, and I thought it was hilarious because it was so bad. And then, like Sean said, if you watch the behind the scenes stuff, it's insane. Everyone was drunk and coked up, and it's
they would have had to be for this movie.
Yeah. The Goomba picture you just sent us, it was just people with tiny heads. It was weird.
It's so weird. It's so weird.
Yeah, and then there's the post-credits scene or whatever of Yoshi's revealing it was just literally a dinosaur. Like it didn't look like Yoshi. It was just like a velociraptor, basically. Just like what?
Oh, it's Yoshi.
Yeah, bad.
All right, good stuff. All right, I think we're good there. Let's keep it moving, I guess. Sean, what is your bad number 3?
All right, my bad number 3 is Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within. This movie came out in 2001, and I kid you not, this is a horrendous movie. This is so bad because the only things from Final Fantasy that it like shares with Final Fantasy games are like the spirit, like the names of like the character, like certain names of characters, the summons, the enemy, but everything else about it is nothing like Final Fantasy. The story is like insanely stupid. It takes place in the way future. There's aliens in it. It's just out of control. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. When I found out that I watched this for the first time in 2003 because that was when I was like really falling in love with Final Fantasy. And my dad's like, "Oh yeah, this is a Final Fantasy movie." He knew it was terrible. He goes, "Oh, why don't you go watch it?" And he like, "Okay." So I went to Blockbuster, and I had to have my dad rent it because it's rated I think it was rated. It was either rated PG-13 or rated R. I don't even remember. But he rented it for me, and I remember I had it on DVD. And I remember being like, "Oh!" I instantly took out the DVD and was like, "Dad, we got to return this right away. I can't. I can't with this." Freaking James Woods is in it. I'm like, Donald Sutherland's in it. Alec Baldwin is like the weirdest. Like it's the weirdest cat. It's so bad. It's an insult to Final Fantasy. I'm sorry. I'm so mad.
Yeah, I remember thinking about like, oh, it's Final Fantasy, and then just seeing it, and it's like it looks more like the Animatrix than Final Fantasy, and it was I watched it once and I purged it from my mind. I legitimately don't remember what it's about. Like it was just so
freaking
terrible.
Freaking aliens.
Yeah, it should have been Mass Effect more so than Final Fantasy, and that would have even been ashamed of Mass Effect. Sorry, I'm trying to plug my headset in. There we go.
I didn't watch that movie, so I have nothing to say. But
yeah,
sounds like I don't need to watch it, huh?
No. I'd rather watch Advent Children.
Advent Children's good.
I like
not
it.
Not on my list, but good.
I liked it more as a kid, but yeah, it's definitely not as terrible as this. That's for sure. But yeah.
All right.
Unless you have anything to say, Locke, I can get into mine.
No, I've never seen it. Yeah.
Okay. My third worst, I'm gonna go with. So I was actually looking through all like the movies that are obviously horrible, and I've skipped most of the very bad ones. So I was actually having slim pickings of this. So I'm gonna go with my third least favorite, or just third worst, is the Mortal Kombat movie from a couple of years. I think it was 2020 or something. The only good part of this movie was that Australian dude was hilarious. His character was awesome, but everything else about this movie was horrible. And I was like, and it was, but it was kind of how you feel about the Mario movie, where it's terrible, but some of the action scenes are actually pretty fun, and it's kind of hokey and gory. So it had its moments, but overall it's definitely more bad than good. So that's why I put it at number 3, because there are worse movies obviously than that. But yeah, it was very disappointing, where I was like, why did I waste my time with this movie when it got over with?
Yeah, I watched that actually recently. I watched it like within the last year, and I thought it was decent. I didn't mind it. It wasn't a good movie by any stretch, but it was fun enough. Like I didn't mind it. There were some cool scenes. The plot was okay. I already expected it to be relatively bad because it's a Mortal Kombat movie, so my expectations were pretty low anyway. So when it had like kind of mid CGI and stuff, I was just like, yeah, that's par for the course, I didn't think it was too bad, but it also wasn't good. So I don't blame you for picking this. You guys have any thoughts on that one, Locke or Sean?
Well, I thought it was campy, but in a good way to me. Like it was obviously a bad movie, but a good bad movie to me. Like it was entertaining. I liked it. It's not memorable or anything, but what else can you do with Mortal Kombat? Like you can't really make like an epic story about it.
And the problem is that they almost made it an origin story, where it's like the concept of Mortal Kombat wasn't even in the movie. It was like at the end where they teased like, and now it's time for Mortal Kombat. And it's just like, oh, okay. But it's definitely not like the worst movie ever. But like I said, I haven't seen actually as many of the bad, like, because I was looking through the list and I was like, oh yeah, these are all horrible, and I've never seen them because of that. So of the ones I've seen, this was up there for me. But
Sure. Sean, any thoughts on that?
I've never played a Mortal Kombat game, never seen a Mortal Kombat movie, so.
Okay, right on. All right then, Lockmort, what is your bad number 3?
Well, once again, I didn't cheat this time, but I did tackle it a little bit differently because, again, I thought there was going to be a lot of overlap here. So what I did, I looked at the worst movies, and the worst movies to me, the worst video game adaptations, are all the Uwe Boll movies. It's like a German director. He directed Alone in the Dark, Blood Rain, Far Cry, Postal, Dungeon Siege, all the worst movies, at least to me. So I approached it a little bit differently, and I looked at like the biggest missed opportunities. Movies that should have been good that were based on games but weren't. And my number 3 here is Max Payne from 2008.
Oh, I forgot about that movie.
Which Max Payne could be an amazing story. And before this movie came out, we already had Sin City. I don't know if you guys ever seen Sin City or know what it is. Sin City.
I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
Well, it basically uses like the noir elements of Max Payne. So I figured, they're going to do that here as well. but they didn't. They just made it into a regular movie. They cast Mark Wahlberg,
Freaking
which is
Mark
insane,
Wahlberg.
as Max Payne. Mona Sachs was Mila Kunis, which was pretty well cast, but all the characters were completely different than they were in the games. The story didn't follow the same story at all. It had basically nothing to do with the game except for the name, which was so disappointing because this was a huge opportunity to finally break through. I remember the marketing for this game when they promoted it to people was like, finally, we're going to do this game justice. This is the first real good video game adaptation, and then it completely tanked and it was horrible. So that's my number 3.
Okay, right on. I haven't played the Max Payne games, and I haven't watched the movie, so can't add anything.
You will soon. There's a remake coming of 1 and 2.
See, that's the thing. I didn't play Max Payne when they came out because obviously I was a kid and I just played what I was given. And so I saw this movie thinking like, oh, it's a video game and I want to see it. And yeah, it was one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. I forgot about it, so it probably should replace Mortal Kombat on my list, but I'll keep it as is. But yeah, this movie was horrendous, which sucks also because especially nowadays, Remedy is one of my favorite developers of all time. So I'm very excited to play these remakes. But yeah, just knowing especially that this movie is based off one of my favorite developers, I'm like, it's even worse now.
All right. Sean, any thoughts before we move on?
Listen, a movie with Marky Mark in there, I can't do it. Sorry. Marky Mark can't do it. Insult
Hey,
the
he's not
Bostonians.
always bad.
Insult the Bostonians.
Hey, he is in my favorite movie of all time, The Departed. The Departed. He was in it, and he was good.
Yeah.
In that.
Yeah, true.
He was a little
Marky
smart ass
Marky-
cop. Yeah.
Yeah, Marky Mark, he left the Patriots Super Bowl when they were down 28-3, and then he tried to claim that he was there, and then they have video of him leaving when it's 28-3. So I just think it's hilarious.
It's funny.
Why would you leave the Super Bowl?
Even if that's crazy. You paid so much money. Yeah. Well, I guess he don't care about it. He's rich.
He shits money, so
Yeah. All right. Moving on. My good number 2 is going to be Cyberpunk Edge Runners, the anime TV series, Netflix, I think. This was an awesome show, really good, awesome art, awesome characters, great music, just all around really good. I enjoyed it a lot. I'm not going to spoil the stories. There were some big surprise and powerful moments towards the end that really kind of stuck with you. I thought it was a really cool take into like the whole cyber psychosis thing, which the game briefly mentioned, but didn't go super deep into other than those missions that you had to track down the cyber psychos. But yeah, no, it was really good and I really enjoyed it. And despite the fact that it was anime, it was still good. So yeah, so that's Cyberpunk Edge Runners is my number 2. You guys have any thoughts on this one? Locke?
It's the one anime that I will give you that was actually really good. Yeah. So good job, whoever made it. The only anime ever that was good. So
The only ever, yeah.
good job to Edge
I don't know
Runners.
about that, but yeah. Sean, any thoughts on this one, sir?
I've never watched it. I did play.
Watch it.
I have so much other stuff to watch, and I've played Cyberpunk. So I do like Cyberpunk. I think if I watch this, I would like it, but I've never watched it. But maybe
Do it. Watch it this year. Please.
yeah.
All right.
I'm gonna delete my Netflix soon, so I need to watch it before because I haven't watched it either. I need to because I didn't watch it because I felt because
sadly.
it's a
I don't
Netflix
have
show.
it. Oh.
I fell off the game twice, so I just never bothered getting into this because I was like, if I don't like the game, then why would I like the show? But I've heard obviously not, but it's obviously, especially after watching Arcane, I'm like, I guess I can't base it based on how I feel about the game. So I do want to watch the show because I've heard nothing but good, but I haven't watched it yet. And I'm hoping it'll also get me back into wanting to play Cyberpunk because I do own it. I just fell off it twice, but now that they've rehauled like the skill tree and all that stuff, I do want to give it another shot.
It's way better. It's a way different game. Yeah.
Yeah, so I want to get back into
awesome.
it.
Games are awesome.
I want to get back into it, and I'm hoping after I watch this show that'll kind of kick my butt into getting back into that world. Because, like I've said before, the city is so cool in that game. Like it feels so alive. So I really want to. I want to love that game, and I just don't at the moment. So I need to push myself into loving it.
One of the best games ever made. So you definitely should go play it. And Cyberpunk Edge Runners is only 10 episodes, so it's not a steep ask. Definitely check it out is my advice.
Yeah.
All right, good stuff, boys. I don't think we have any more thoughts on that. Sean? You want to go ahead and get into your good too?
I will. All right, my good number 2. Here we go. Is the Pokemon anime. Now, before anyone says anything, the Pokemon anime came out after the games. The games were in development way before the anime was ever thought of. Um, this is more of like a nostalgic pick for me. Obviously, I'm not still, I'm not one. I do watch anime, but I'm not, I'm not up to date with the Pokemon anime. I probably haven't watched it in, probably since I was in sixth or seventh grade. But I have so many memories as a kid watching the, Ash and friends run through the Hoenn League and run through Johto and just, those two leagues. I even watched through Sinnoh. I really, really loved it. So I have so many memories of just like playing the games while watching the show, looking at my cards while watching the show, discussing it with friends. I mean, and honestly, any show that can run for, I don't care, for, it's been on for almost 20 years. No, it's been on for almost 30 years now. Like, that's insane. Yeah, I love this show as a kid. Like I said, this is a nostalgic pick. Hodge, is this on your list? I had a feeling maybe it might be.
No, it's not on my list, but it's definitely a good pick. Because I didn't think about it because they were kind of the show and games were so simultaneous that I didn't think of the show as an adaptation of the game, even though it is because it was the game first and then the show and cards and manga. So it is definitely technically an adaptation. But yeah, I didn't think about it. I love the show. I stopped watching basically around like whenever the third movie came out because I had just started losing interest in it. I lost interest. Huh?
The
What?
Entei movie.
Yeah.
The one with Entei.
I saw a lot of the first few seasons of the show and then those 3 movies. And then at that point I had gotten old enough that I lost interest in Pokemon. So I didn't keep it going until I picked up Ultra Moon like years ago and played that on 3DS. That was the first time I returned to Pokemon since playing Pokemon Silver. So yeah, I had a long gap of not playing Pokemon games or watching anything. But yeah, the original show, it's so much fun. I love that show. And those 3 movies, I own them all on Blu-ray because I just like those movies that much. But yeah, that's definitely a good pick. It's I loved that show as a kid for sure.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, I don't have any thoughts. Never watched it. Only played one Pokemon game. Never watched the anime or anything. Haven't seen any of the films except for the first film in like 1998 or whatever. I saw that in the theaters. I saw that in the theaters. Some of my friends really wanted to go see it, so I went with them, and it wasn't bad. It was decent. Locke, any thoughts on this?
No, I had no idea that the games came before the show. I thought the show came before the game, so that's cool.
I did too.
I never knew that until now. So thank you, Sean. That's awesome to know.
Mm-hmm. All right, Hodge, you're up next. You want to get into your good too?
Yeah, speaking of Pokemon, I'm gonna go with Detective Pikachu. It's not like an amazing movie by any means, but I really loved it. Like it's if someone actually told me to grade it like based on its quality, I'd be like it's like a 6. But I just really loved it. It was something I've been wanting since I was a kid, like real life Pokemon. Like what would that be like? And so even though some of the Pokemon like Mr. Mime or Mankey or whatever are like kind of creepy, but other than that, like it was a very fun movie. It was charming. Ryan Reynolds as Detective Pikachu is a choice, but a funny one. And it was just a fun movie that I really enjoyed. And like as I said, like I'll have honorable mentions at the end of shows that are probably better, but I just really enjoyed this movie, and so I figured, screw it, that's my number 2, the Detective Pikachu, and I want to try the games one day, and I hope they make a sequel to this movie because it was fun.
Dude,
okay,
the Ludicolo real life like look of Ludicolo freaked me out like so much. I remember when I first started, I'm like, that is so creepy. And it's in the movie, like it's prevalent throughout the movie. And a kid on my floor in college had a poster of that in his room of just the Ludicolo. And I would walk in there and be like, I gotta leave. I can't. I feel like it's staring at me.
That's funny.
All right, I have nothing to add to this. Haven't seen it. Locke, you have any thoughts on this? And then feel free to get into your good.
I haven't seen it, so I have to jump in into my number 2. My number 2 is a TV show, and its second season is about to start. Now, I think the games are way better than this show, and I think it's actually one of the most overrated shows of all time. But I still think it's good. It has bad casting. It made a couple of bad choices.
I know what it is.
Of course, it has a couple of bad choices in the changes they made from the games, but it has that beautiful HBO quality and acting for some people, and cinematography. So my pick is The Last of Us. I think the casting is horrendous. I think Pedro Pascal played an okay Joel, but they could have gotten better actors for that. I don't remember the girl's name who
Bella
plays
Ramsey.
Ellie.
Bella
Yes,
Ramsey.
Yeah,
she was
sucks.
she was okay, I think, in The Last of Us in the first season. The second season, the pictures they're showing, it looks ridiculous. It just looks like an 8-year-old girl paired with actual actors. So I don't know
Yeah.
how that's gonna turn out. But I thought the show itself, the things they added, I thought were awesome. Like they had this whole episode in this town with this female commander, I think it was. Amazing. I thought that was a great
Kansas
episode.
City, yeah.
Yeah. The one thing I didn't really like or actually hated was the stuff with Bill that they changed. I thought Bill
Ooh, okay.
in the show, in the game, was way better. It was way more subtle, way better acted, way better character. In the show, he was basically like the token gay guy, which is such a shame because they handled it so perfectly in the game, where he was gay, but you found out through that letter that his lover that you then find later on, you find out that way, which is way
Yeah.
more interesting than the way they blatantly shoved it into your face in the show. It's also a shame because in the game he could technically still be alive, but in the show he's just a side character. They devoted an entire episode to a character that is dead, which is kind of weird because if you've played the game, it makes sense. But if you haven't played a game, I don't get why people afterwards weren't like, well, why did you waste an entire episode on this character that's not on the show anymore? So I thought they made a bad choice there, but everybody else seems to disagree because that episode won. Oh, maybe your cat doesn't, but most other people, I guess, disagree because that episode won awards and everybody was raving about it. But I thought that was a mistake what they did there. I thought the game handled that better. But other than that, I thought the show was great. HBO quality, great stuff. Can't wait for season 2. I hope they stick to what they did and they keep faithful to the game and not prolong it or the big thing that happens at the start of the second game should happen at the start of the season, not at the end. So I hope they do that. But we'll see. Yeah. So The Last of Us.
We will see. Sean, any thoughts on this?
This is not on my list. It would be an honorable mention. I agree with a lot of what Locke said. I think the show is good. I think the games are a lot better. I think the casting, I agree. I don't really enjoy the casting. I do think Bella Ramsey was a little bit of a strange choice for Ellie, especially considering she hasn't really aged up like she does in the games. Pedro Pascal, he's fine as Joel. I don't have a problem with it, but when I first heard them like, oh, they're making a Last of Us TV show, I never in my mind even considered Pedro Pascal. I'm like, oh, I could see, like, I thought Hugh Jackman would do a great job.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
amazing.
Obviously, that would be a lot more money, probably.
Yeah.
They can afford it.
Yeah.
I mean, it is HBO, so they could afford it. Yeah, I mean, even like Nathan Fillion, I could see as Joel.
I love Nathan Fillion.
Yeah, I could see him as Joel too.
Yeah.
So I think he did a fine job, but I do agree. I didn't mind the Bill episode, but I did think it was weird that they did kill him off in the end. I thought that they would leave it more ambiguous like they do in the games. But the stuff they did add, I did enjoy, like you said, Locke. But overall, it's a good show. Games are much, much better. I think it's not. I think it's a tad overrated as a show because people think it's like the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
I do enjoy it, and I am very much looking forward to season 2. And I am gonna rewatch season 1 because I really like it. It's one of my mom's favorite shows, which is funny. She like loves it.
Oh, nice.
Hodge, any thoughts on that one?
Oh, I have a lot. But
we know.
we're gonna dedicate a DLC, spoiler alert, to this first season before the second season comes out. So I'm very excited. I will get into it in depth for about 7 hours in that episode. But quickly, I agree the casting is terrible. I thought Pedro did all right. I was disappointed when they announced it, but he did a decent job of keeping that Texas accent and kind of keeping the distance that Joel had in the first game. I thought he did all right with that. But Bella Ramsey, I hated it since day one. She only got got it because she was the funny little girl in Game of Thrones that everyone liked, even though her character also died in that show in the stupidest way possible. And so I've been against. I said before the show was cast, I said Caitlin Dever should play Ellie because she looks exactly like her, and instead they cast her as Abby for some reason. I'm like, that's just like out of spite almost. It feels like yeah, we know you wanted her, but we're gonna put her for this character instead. It's like, okay. But I will say the changes they made, other than the Bill episode, I agree. I was one of the ones who spoke out against it after the episode, saying it was a waste of time. It has nothing to do with the rest of the plot, other than to say, hey, Joel, take care of your partner because you got to be a nice person. Take care of your partner. Get it? Yes, we understand. Joel needs to like Ellie at the end of the season, so the thing that happens at the end of the season happens. But yeah, it was so much better than the game. It was so much more subtle. Bill was just like, you thought he was just this grumpy old man, and then you get to the house, you see what's his nuts had hung himself, and there's the note of like "fuck you, Bill" kind of thing, and he just goes, yeah, he was my partner, and so you think kind of like, you know, business partner type thing, and then you find out later, you know, she throws the gay magazine out the window, and it's just like, what are these? Why are the pages sticky? And so you find out like, oh no, they were lovers. It's just it didn't work out. They broke up, and they were living on separate sides of the town, you know, as angry ex-partners. And so the episode, the episode was like an hour and a half because they had to have a half hour of Joel and Ellie, so you didn't get completely pissed off that it was only about Bill and what's his nuts. And so that episode was just, I didn't like as its own episode. If it was not Last of Us, it was a good story of a grumpy old man kind of learning to soften a little bit because he found a partner and he has his own little paradise. Like, it makes sense as a thing, but when you're telling a 10 episode story about Joel and Ellie, you can't take an entire episode to be like to introduce two characters, have their entire life happen, then they die, and at the end just be like, what? Like, you can skip episode 3 and it's the same show. It's doesn't change anything. At least the Riley episode explains where Ellie came from. Like that one makes sense. And so yeah, that episode is bad. The casting is not good. But overall, like you said, the HBO quality, like I loved how they expanded the first episode, adding more about Sarah. Like I thought that's my favorite episode of the season, or of the season, because showing like, and then that cold open where they're on the TV show in like the 70s or whatever, and he goes, well, what if the world gets warmer? What if they adapt and we lose? And that's exactly what happened. And it's that cold opening is so good. And so yeah, it's definitely got that HBO quality. But yeah, other than those, you know, minorish things, as everyone knows, I'm not the biggest fan of the second game. I don't think it's the worst game ever, like, you know, the anti-woke Twitter people do. I just think that my worst complaint with the second game was the pacing, and so that's what I hope the second season does, is I hope it fixes the pacing, because the pacing in that game was bad. And so I'm looking forward to the second season of the show. But like you said, seeing the photos, it looks like it's a bunch of like preteens running around instead of you know, young adults, and so it kind of takes me out of it a little bit. But I wasn't a fan of the photos of the first season's preview, so who knows? Maybe they'll surprise us. Hopefully they do, because I don't want to fall off the show and be a grumpy old man saying, it should have been this way. But yeah. So overall, it's a you know, it was a very good show. That's why it was an honorable mention for me as well. And I rewatched it in October for Halloween because my cousin hadn't seen it, so we watched it together. And not comparing it to the game actually made it a little better for me. So people who hadn't played the game, it might have actually been better for them, as opposed to me where I'm like, the game did it better. But yeah, rant over.
Okay. All right. Good. So, my thoughts. This is I guess an honorable mention for me too. I considered adding it. The reason why I didn't add it is because I don't think this is a good adaptation at all. I think it's an amazing story. It's one of the best stories ever told. This show is carried by the game's awesome story, but as an actual adaptation, it's not that great. The casting of Bella Ramsey is horrible, as we talked about. In my opinion, I really think that they should have chosen Sadie Sink, who plays Max in Stranger Things, to play Ellie. And click on that link that I just put in the chat there and tell me that she doesn't kind of look like Ellie. And you could do her hair to make really look like Ellie.
Yeah.
I really feel like she could have been a good Ellie, and she's a good actress too. Although I don't know about in part 2, because I think she still looks kind of young. But anyway, it's bad. Like we talked about, episode 3 was a good story, but it had no purpose at all in this. Like, it literally had nothing at all to do with the show. They're just like, oh, we're gonna have a gay episode, and that's cool. I didn't mind the episode, but it was pointless. I felt like they wasted my time, but that's fine. But yeah, we'll go ahead and keep it moving. The Last of Us is amazing. What a great story, and the show is decent. And I am looking forward to season 2. Hopefully, it will be good. All right, let's go ahead and keep it moving now. So we're going to move on to our bad. And number 2, we're back with me. My bad number 2 is going to be another 90s movie, the Street Fighter movie from 1994.
Oh, really?
This movie was really bad. It had really a stupid story, very cringe acting. The whole story was basically like Guile like kidnapped a bunch of like UN people. But his whole point was to create like genetic super soldiers or something to take over the world. So what did he need the UN people for? That just brought unnecessary heat down on him. I don't really get it. I don't really remember all the details, but I just remember that this was a bad movie. And yeah, it wasn't good at all. I'll keep it short there because it's been so long since I've seen it. I don't remember all the intricate plot points. Did you guys see this movie? Do you have any thoughts on this?
I have to disagree with you. I thought this movie was
Ooh.
great.
Wow.
But I have to say that because it has Jean-Claude Van Damme in it, who is my fellow Belgian. It also had Raul Julia in it, who's a great actor who died shortly after. He had cancer during the recording of this movie. But this movie is very campy. It's very, when was it? 90s, I think that it was
94.
made. Yeah, it's a very 90s movie. It's very campy. It is bad, but it's bad in a good way. Like Batman and Robin are bad to me too. Like it's bad, but it's not. I don't get angry while watching it. It's like, oh, this is bad. This is fun. I like watching it. So I kind of disagree, but I get where you're coming from, for sure.
Batman and Robin, I think, is terrible. I'm sorry. I like the other Batman movies, but I hate Batman and Robin.
Yeah, that's an awful movie. Just like this one is an awful movie. But I'd rather watch Batman and Robin than any of the other movies we've mentioned so far. I think.
That's fair. That's fair.
All right. Sean, any thoughts on this? Did you see it?
Never seen it.
Hodge, you?
I've never seen this one either. No.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and keep it moving then. Sean Mason, bad number 2 choice.
All right, my bad number 2 choice is Tak and the Power of Juju, the TV series from Nickelodeon. First of all, who thought it was a good idea to make this into a TV series? First of all, the video game was awful. So, well, yeah, let's make it into a TV series. That's a great idea. It lasted for 2 years. I cannot believe this cartoon lasted for 2 years. I don't know what Nickelodeon was thinking, making this into a show. I only seen maybe like an episode where it's split into like 2 segments. I watched it over a friend's house and said, "Why are we watching this? Like, can we just go do something else, please? I'd rather stare at paint dry." The game was awful, like I said. I don't know who greenlit this as a show. I don't know whose idea it was. It freaking got a spin-off show too. Like, I'm like, come on,
That's crazy.
Like, Tak and the Power of Juju. Like, what were you thinking, Nickelodeon? Like, this is not like you're. Oh my! I don't even know. I don't know. Absolutely terrible.
I've never even heard of this.
I've heard
of the game. I've never heard. I didn't know it had a show.
Yeah,
though.
Nickelodeon made it into a CGI like Jimmy Neutron like show, like looking show, and I'm like, what are you thinking?
That's crazy. Yeah, I didn't know they
The
made
same people who bring you SpongeBob bring you this. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I've never heard of this in my life. The
No,
show,
me neither.
the
Don't
game.
worry about it. Don't worry about
anything.
it. Erase it. Erase it from your mind.
We're done. It's gone. All right. Anyone else have thoughts on this before we move?
no.
Never heard of it. Yeah.
I'll just say one last thing. I was 11 years old watching this, and after that, I really contemplated like never watching Nickelodeon again.
Oh damn! Wow.
How bad it was. Sean's Joker moment at 11 years old.
That's funny.
All right. Hodge, bad number 2, sir.
Bad number 2. This movie is, I mean, it's actually honestly a slight guilty pleasure for me, kind of like the, you know, how you said like for Street Fighter and stuff, but it is a horrible movie, is Assassin's Creed. Because based off a game that's actually fun most of the time, some of the games aren't as great, but just hearing like Michael Fassbender is gonna play an assassin from like the Middle Ages, and you're like, awesome. And then before it comes out, they go, oh, by the way, 80% of it is set in the real world and only 20% is in the past. Like, oh yeah, let's dedicate most of the movie to the worst fucking part of the games. That's awesome. Cool. Great. And so you go and see it, and it completely undoes everything. There's no Desmond Miles or anything. You're just like, It would have been cool if he played as Desmond Miles and they followed that plot, because I don't hate it. It's just not what I play Assassin's Creed for. Like, his plot was actually kind of entertaining. It would have made it okay. It would have been a better plot than this fucking one. But and then the fact that the animus is like a big thing you stick in your spine and you jump around the room and like, no, he's not actually doing it. You're in his brain, in his DNA, finding the past because of that. Like, what is happening? This is so stupid, but it had a cool cast, and the stuff that wasn't a past was actually pretty cool. Like the fact that they actually did do the high dive off of the clock tower into the I don't know if he did it a hay in the game or in the movie or not, but the fact that they actually did that, and it was a real stunt that a guy actually jumped off into obviously a giant crash pad, not into a bale of hay, but the fact that they actually did that, it was really cool. And the past stuff was really, really cool. And they kept it in the language of the time. And it was sweet, but all of the real world shit was terrible. But it's one of those movies where it's like, I don't completely hate it. Like I said, it's a guilty pleasure, but it's horrible. So, so that's my number 2.
All right. I have nothing to add. Never seen it. You guys have thoughts on that? Sean?
I have never played an Assassin's Creed game, but I have seen this movie. It is awful. I'll just leave it at that. It is awful.
What about you, Lot?
Well, this is also my number 2, so I completely agree with Hodge. I think the base material they had for this movie was so incredible. They could have made like an Ezio movie, which would have been amazing. If they did it well, they could have made a trilogy and made a shit ton of money. But no, they had to pretend that they knew what they were doing and pretend that they were good writers. So they had to tie to Columbus for some reason and make it set in Spain, which doesn't make any sense for this movie. So yeah, no, I completely agree with everything that Hodge said. 80% of the movie was trash because it was set in modern times and it didn't have anything to do with Assassin's Creed. And then when they went back in time, it was just such a missed opportunity. This movie really made me sad because I thought this had the potential to finally be good, and it just wasn't. Great casting though, Michael Fassbender, amazing.
Yeah,
but yeah, they squandered it. They squandered
Brendan
it.
Gleeson's in it and stuff.
Yeah.
Like the cast is great, but it's just man,
a shame. Yeah,
and isn't Marion Cotillard in it also?
Yeah.
It's a great cast, but Jesus, what a missed opportunity.
Yeah, they just it's the writing was just bad. If they hired actual people who played the games or knew what they were doing, this could have been great. But they didn't.
I think they are slowly starting to learn the lesson with like One Piece and Last of Us and stuff. Like, get the people who know what the fuck they're doing into this, and it will be good.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I hope they're learning that lesson.
Yeah.
All right. Shall we continue?
Yeah,
sure.
Let's do it. All right. Moving on to our good number 1 with me. So my good pick number 1 is going to be, to no surprise to anyone, it's going to be Fallout. The Fallout TV show was absolutely fucking incredible, and it was completely unique. It was a whole new story. They didn't just rip the story from one of the games and then retread it like Last of Us did. No shade. Great game, a great story, but this was a unique story, and it was a great story. I really enjoyed it. The casting is phenomenal in this. Ella Purnell is fucking awesome. I love her. I'm in love with her. She's amazing. And also Walton Goggins, whatever. He's so good, dude. Him as the goal. He was so, like, those two carried the show. Like, they both killed it. They were both awesome characters. Great acting. Great everything. The dude Maximus or whatever, he wasn't that great. He wasn't horrible. I wasn't like mad at him. I didn't want to like beat him up and kick him out of the show or anything, but he just wasn't as nearly as good as the other two. He was just like okay. And then they had freaking what's his name? What's that dude's name who was like his mentor that he's always like cussing and is a crazy ass dude. Maximus' mentor.
Thaddeus.
Yeah, Thaddeus, that dude. I can't believe that they casted that crazy dude to play him, but it was pretty funny when he was like, fuck, shit, help.
Oh, Michael
Rappaport?
Yeah.
Oh, no, okay, yeah, that's not Thaddeus. Yeah, you're talking about okay, I know what you're talking about. Thaddeus is like the guy who used to make fun of him when he's in like in the school, and then he's like, oh my gosh, you're so cool.
Yeah, he did the classic movie and TV cop out when you want someone to kill somebody, where he was just comically villainous this. He's like, "Help me, you fucking idiot, you fucking loser! I'm gonna report and kill you. Save my life. Help me, you fucking idiot!" Because that's what you would say when you want someone to save you, right?
Well, that was just Michael Rappaport being himself. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was so amazed that he did that because he must have known that they cast him because he's a real life asshole.
Yeah.
Like he basically played himself there.
He did.
He's also he's a noted huge Fallout fan. Like he's big into video games. Yeah, he's a huge Fallout fan.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's been in a lot of it. He was in GTA 3. He was in the two Saints Row games. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So Fallout, that's my number one pick. I don't think we need to go into too much detail on this because it's awesome, and we'll probably do some level of spoiler casting later for it. Who knows? But yeah, Fallout's awesome. Do you guys have thoughts on this? It might be coming up on some of your lists. We'll see.
Locke, is this your number one?
Yeah.
It is mine as well. Okay. So
Makes it easy.
easier for timestamps to just put that in all together.
Sure. Yeah. That's easy.
Yeah. Phenomenal show. This is one of the shows that like. You guys know I'm not a big, like outside of anime, I'm not a big TV movie guy, but I was thinking about the show all the time after watching it. And I even posted in Locke in your Discord the other day. I posted like that is the best thing I watched in 2024. Like
Same.
by far.
Same for me.
And I watched a ton of One Piece in 2024, and this is better than One Piece.
Ooh, tell it to Dustin.
incredible.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I also thought the music choices were really great. Like they used the music from the first two, and the connections to the first two games was what really caught me by surprise. Because I thought they were just going to base it on 3 or New Vegas, maybe, or 4, but they really based it on 1 and 2, which was great. I thought that was and you could tell this was another example where you could tell that it was made by the people who knew the games inside out. Like when they find that NRC flag in a New Vegas team plays, incredible, goosebumps. All the connections to the games, like you had the rat roaches, like you had the power armor, the way the Brotherhood of Steel works in this show, amazing too. I thought it was great. And Ella Purnell, like you said, the okie dokies that progressively became worse and sadder, great stuff. Yeah.
Oh, I love her so much.
How about Vault 4? How about when they go to Vault 4?
Oh yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
So good. Everyone's like, you don't think this is weird? Like everyone's looking around. Like you don't think everyone here is weird?
Yeah.
Great.
It was also perfectly
so
layered. Like you had multiple layers to it. You had the Brotherhood of Steel. You had Ella Purnell. What's her name? Lucy? No,
Lucy.
Yeah,
Lucy. You had Lucy and the Ghoul, and then you had what was happening in the Vault. So we had 3 layers every episode, which is so hard to do, but they pulled it off, and it all came together at the end. Beautiful. I can't wait for season 2. I hope we get it this year.
Oh my god, I cannot. I freaking can't wait. My mom asked me all like almost every time I see her. So when's Fallout season 2 coming out? I'm like, Mom, I've told you a million times. Like we don't know yet. Like,
Well, they're filming right now, so it's probably next year, but it is possible that we see it at the end of this year.
I love the fact that they took one of my favorite video game franchises in Fallout and made it into like an actual good show. Like they didn't screw it up. I love that.
Yeah.
I will
All
say,
right, good stuff.
I did debate making this my number one, so we could have had 4 for 4, but I just kept it up there because I'm not a big BGS fan. That's the only reason why I didn't have it at number 1, because seeing it wasn't as impressive to me. Like obviously I loved the show, but it wasn't as impressive to me of going like one of my favorite games is now one of my favorite shows. It was just it's a game that I know I've enjoyed, and then it was just an amazing show. So. But yeah,
God, I
love this show so much.
Gosh, I love it.
I need to rewatch it.
Have you
watched it twice.
I'll rewatch it before season 2.
Have you tried Fallout London, Sean, on PC?
No, I have not, but I want to so bad. It looks so good.
It's amazing. It's just a new Fallout game.
Yeah, and I want to play the mod that puts like New Vegas and 3 together.
Oh yeah, the Wasteland mod. Yeah,
I want to try that too. Oh my god, I love 3, 4, New Vegas. I love 1 and 2. I love every Fallout game. There's not a Fallout game I've played that I haven't liked.
Yeah,
I need to play New Vegas because I've just heard it's the best. I've heard it's the best one, so I just really want to play it because of that.
It has the best story and characters. Yeah, no doubt.
And you'll definitely want to.
Favorite. My second favorite Fallout.
You definitely want to play it.
I'm definitely going to at least. If I hope I fucking love it, but I'm definitely going to get to it before the second season comes out.
Yeah,
I want to. I really want to play that game.
Yeah.
Please play it on PC because it will crash if you don't.
Yeah.
I don't have a PC.
You playing on Xbox?
Fallout New Vegas. Yeah, I would not play Fallout New Vegas on console.
Why? I did. It was fine. Actually, I played it on PC as well. I played it both. All right. So, Sean, your number one was Fallout. Locke, your number one was Fallout as well. That's going to make it a bit awkward, I think, for the video portion with the graphics, but we'll figure it out. Hodge, you're up now. What is your good number one, sir?
My number one is honestly almost one of my favorite TV shows of all time. We discussed earlier a little bit, but Arcane. It's genuine, like especially for never giving a shit about League of Legends. My younger brother plays it, and even he says it's nerdy and sweaty and stupid. But this show came out of because I only watched it because my brother was watching an episode once, and I sat down and watched a little bit with him. Like, wow, this. And of course, everyone knows I'm a huge animation fan, so the animation blew me away. Like, it's Spider-Verse level good, and so it blew me away for that. And then I'm not going to spoil anything for anyone who hasn't watched it, but once you get to the third episode of the first season, I was all in. It was like a Game of Thrones type moment from early on in Game of Thrones when it was still good, and it just caught me and carried me, and I never gave up. The only thing it was what almost made me take it out of number one was the second season. While good, very good, it was rushed. They definitely rushed the second season a little bit. And that's really my only point against that show. But other than that, it is an amazing story that every character is someone you give a shit about. You want to learn more about them. Obviously, I'm not going to go and play the game because of it, but the show itself is unbelievable. Like, I've gotten people who don't, like my friends who are casual gamers, like they'll play Halo or COD or Madden. Like, they're those kind of gamers, like the very casuals. And even they're like, that show is amazing. I'm like, yeah, like GJ in your server, Lock, and our buddy, he just always asking me, I was like, should I watch Arcane? I don't like League of Legends. And I'm like, yes, you don't need to know, like, or give any shit about League of Legends. It's genuinely one of the best TV shows I've ever seen in my life. And so, yeah, I love this show. It's by far my favorite adaptation. But yeah, like Fallout and Last of Us are obviously all quality and stuff, but this one, it blew my mind how good it was.
You just convinced me to watch it. I've never seen it, but I will now. You made it sound really interesting.
It's good. It's genuinely one of the best TV shows I've ever seen.
Awesome.
And so this isn't a spoiler, but basically both seasons are 9 episodes, and each season is 3 trilogies. So 3 episode chunks is like its own story almost, but they're all obviously connected, and it's an ongoing story, but each third episode is kind of a finale in a sense. And so if you ever need to like pace it at a certain way, I'd say watch it 3 episodes at a time if you're not binging it. That's the best way to watch it. And yeah, it's incredible. I love that show so much.
Wow.
I did not realize that. I had no idea that they were that it was like that, even though I'm watching it.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, anyone else have any thoughts on Arcane? We talked about it earlier.
Sounds amazing. Yeah.
All right, we'll keep it moving. So we're gonna go ahead and end the show now with our bad number one to wrap up this segment in the show. So it's my turn, and my bad number one is going to be Doom, the movie with The Rock from 2005.
I forgot
this movie starred Dwayne The Rock Johnson, and it also had Carl Urban or whatever, who's now in The Boys, right? He was in this. Yep. So like the actors were decent, although The Rock is a terrible actor in almost everything. He pretty much just plays himself. Like he has like no acting chops at all.
Oh yeah.
I used to be a huge Rock fan. Like I was a big fan of him in WWF and stuff back in the day. If you smell right. But I think he's kind of played out and corny now. I'm not as much of a fan of him anymore, especially lately. He's gotten like super political, which annoys me because I don't like celebrities telling me how to vote and think. But anyway, I digress. This movie was terrible. Okay, so they tried to do like this awkward like first person shooting camera. So like a lot of the movie is shot in like a first person perspective with horrible CG, terrible plot. It was just all around awful. And when I watched this movie, it made me want to kill myself. Like that's how bad it was. Like, I was just like, wow. Last week, Hodge, you were talking about how the Doom games are for school shooters. And I would say this movie might have led to somebody shooting up a school. That's how bad it was. So. But yeah, no, stay safe, kids. Don't shoot up schools. All right.
Yes.
You guys have any thoughts on this?
Please do not.
Please do not.
Please do not. Do not do that. But no, I never saw this movie because it looked so terrible. But I remember watching the trailer where it's like it shows everything and then it like kind of cuts to black and then the camera comes on and it's first person. I was like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. So I've never seen it, but I'm sure you are correct in saying it's one of the worst movies ever made.
You should watch it just to punish yourself one of these days.
Oh my
Like
God.
if you're feeling really depressed, just
have it
watch
be a
this.
bet.
Yeah.
If I lose a bet, I'll have to watch it.
Locke, any thoughts on this? Have you seen it?
Yeah, of course I've seen it. Yeah, this was back when The Rock tried to be an actual actor. So this is one of his more serious roles, right? Like all of his other roles after this one are always like a big tongue in cheek, but this one he really tried to play like a serious. What were they? Marines in here, but it didn't work.
Yeah.
It was awful. Yeah, you're right. Awful movie. Horrendous.
I think the only movie starring The Rock that I actually thought was semi decent was that was Scorpion King or whatever.
You
I
seen
thought that
Red
was
Iron
okay.
Gang?
that was his very first movie ever.
That was decent. No, I don't think I've seen that, Sean.
Gridiron
No,
Gang's
he
pretty
was
good
in
movie.
Mummy Returns.
Yeah, Gridiron Gang's pretty good.
Okay. Any thoughts on Doom, Sean Mason?
Okay, so my only history with this movie is I watched 15 minutes of it on a UMD, PSP UMD.
Oh, nice.
My friend bought a PSP in 2008 from GameStop. He bought a used one, and it came with like 3 UMDs and like 3 like games, and it was like a mystery grab bag thing GameStop was doing. And he ended up getting this, and we watched 15 minutes of it. I'm like, this is awful.
It's so bad.
even at that time, I was 12, and I knew I'm like, this is bad. Like, this is bad.
Yeah, and it's one of those where I haven't seen it, so I can't completely be say on this, but it seemed like it was another one of those where it was ashamed to be a video game movie because like he wasn't in like his green Doomslayer costume. He's just in like black armor or something, I think, if I remember right. And it's just like just make him Doomslayer. Everyone wants to be that. Like that's awesome, but yeah. It's bad.
The movie sucks and The Rock sucks as an actor. So, all right, Sean Mason, what is your bad number one, sir?
All right, my bad number one is Donkey Kong Country, the animated series.
Oh,
Did any of you know this show or remember this show?
No.
No. The only video game cartoon I know of is they had a Sonic the Hedgehog TV show way back in the day.
Yeah.
That's the only cartoon.
Which was decent.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which it depends on which one you watched. The Donkey Kong Country TV show came out in 1997. So after all the Donkey Kong Country games, it was so bad that like watching it, the frame rate like stuttered. Like watching it, it looked like a late 90s like PC game that was just chugging, just absolutely like one of those like Grim Fandango. It almost looked like that, but like chugging like terribly, like you could like count the frames almost. It was so bad. It was so cheesy. Like think of like the like it's like Donkey Kong. They're like, oh, we gotta get the bananas. We gotta go save the bananas. Every episode is them trying to get bananas. Like they have all the different cast of characters in it. They make Donkey Kong look like a freaking idiot in it. Like he's he's like an absolute moron. Like obviously Donkey Kong's not going to be the smartest guy the way they portray him in the Mario games, but like he's an absolute downright idiot to the point where like Diddy Kong has to like basically talk for him sometimes. Like he can't express his thoughts, and Diddy Kong can like understand him. It is so bad. It was I rented like VHS tapes of it, and I kept renting VHS tapes of it thinking it was gonna get better. Of course, this is like 4-year-old, 4-year-old me thinking it's like no, each episode just got worse and worse. And I remember finally being like one day, I just can't do this anymore. And this is why I like refused to play the Donkey Kong Country games for so long, because I'm like, Donkey Kong's awful.
damn.
He's a terrible character.
Oh, that makes my cousin cry on the my cousin. His favorite games of all time are Ocarina of Time and Donkey Kong Country. Those are his two like.
Oh, they're great games now.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, they're great
Yeah.
games, but I like refuse to they made like there would always be a villain who would look like Donkey Kong, but they'd give him like a different color like a different color shading, and they put like a mustache on. He had like a mustache or something, and it was like it was so dumb.
That's
Like
hilarious.
talk about it's like such a cash grab.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. That's
right.
hilarious.
I have nothing to add to that. So, anyone else have thoughts on that before we proceed?
Never seen it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's 3D animated. That looks terrible.
Yeah, it looks
Oh
like
my-
you can count the frames. I'm telling you, you can count the frames.
Oh man, I thought it was at
My
least
God.
2D. Jesus, that's bad.
Oh wow, that looks wow. Okay.
It looks like a late '90s PC game that just
Yeah.
can't run.
It really does. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Wow.
Okay.
Anyway,
Moving on. Hodge, what's your number one bad adaptation?
I am going to go with Fallout. No, I'm kidding. I'm going to go with Resident Evil, because the old Mia Djokovic one. Not that I didn't see that Netflix one where there was like a dancing lesbian person or whatever. Didn't watch that piece of shit. But no, the original, because it had nothing to do with Resident Evil. Really, it's like they tried later on to like include characters from the games, but they weren't them. They just kind of wore the same clothes. And so it's kind of the series as a whole is, I mean, they got worse as they went on, obviously, but the first one had a little bit of fun, but overall it was still dog shit. Like, but it had like I said, I've only played like 3 Resident Evil games, but even I knew that those movies had nothing to do with the games, and they're not good. And so like I don't have anything nice to say about them, really. They're just terrible. And yeah, so Resident Evil, worst. I watched all of them last year, actually, because I was curious, and yeah, each one got perpetually worse. None of them had anything to do with the games I had played, and I was just like, I can't, this is terrible. They're just horrible. So the Resident Evil, worst of all time.
That Resident Evil movie, I'll never forget. Resident Evil is my dad's favorite video game series ever, and I remember he got this is a 2002 one, right? You're talking about?
Yeah, whatever the original one. I don't know what year it was, but yeah, the original.
Well, anyways, he got our cousin to come over to babysit me and my sister, so him and my mom could go out and see it. And they came home like 45 minutes later. They left in the middle of the movie because my dad was like, this is terrible. I can't do this. And he's never watched an adaptation of Resident Evil again. He's like, I'll never watch any movie or show or anything with Resident Evil again. He'll never.
I gotta say though, with hearing that Zach Kreger is gonna reboot it as a movie to keep it close to its roots, I'm actually very excited, because Barbarian was a fantastic horror movie. So if he's in charge of it, I actually do have faith, because he's probably a big Resident Evil fan. You know, Whitest Kids, he's kind of a nerdy dude, so I'm sure he played video games, and I'm sure he has respect for it. So I'm excited to see what it is. But yeah, this wasn't it.
Yeah. I remember that had that scene in the first movie with like the lasers, right, where they cut the people up. That's the one scene I remember. I saw it at a party when I was in high school at some point, and this movie was on in the background, and that's the scene I remember with the lasers. And I remember everyone being disgusted with that. But yeah, horrible.
Yeah, it was bad.
How many of those movies are there anyway? They've
Too
been
many.
Like
6.
I think 5 or 6.
Yeah, 5 or 6. I can't even remember. It's bad.
Yeah, absolutely. Like those first couple were especially bad, no doubt. I feel like some of the later ones were like okay as like a guilty pleasure, like campy, like
because they basically
I think were decent, kind of.
It's because they basically gave up on it being Resident Evil at that point. They were just weird post-apocalyptic fantasy movies. Like they weren't even Resident Evil anymore.
True.
Yeah, I didn't mind Apocalypse and Extinction, but yeah, those early ones are horrendous.
Yeah.
All right, Locke, if you have any more thoughts, feel free, and then give yours.
Well, my number one is a movie that came out last year, and I watched it on the channel Manny and I had on Retro Rewind. And the casting for this movie is the worst I've ever seen. The jokes in this movie are the worst I've ever heard. The action in this movie is the worst I've ever seen. And the story in this movie was non-existent because it didn't have a story. And that movie was Borderlands. Atrocious. I kind of like the Borderlands games, or well, let's say I like Borderlands 1. Let's put it like that. I tolerated Borderlands 2, Borderlands 3, abysmal, great shooting, but horrible story. This movie, I guess Randy Pitchford just made it by himself alone with the actors in a room, and they had a couple of green schemes or something, because nothing in this movie is about Borderlands. The story doesn't make sense. The actors clearly didn't know what kind of movie they were in, because some of them are trying to play it serious. Others are trying to make it funny. It's never funny. It's never good. Horrible all around. It also has Jack Black as Claptrap. Well, you might disagree with this, but I cannot stand Jack Black. Whenever I see Jack Black in a movie, except for Super Mario, I already know it's going to be a bad movie. He was in this as Claptrap. Bad. Everything is bad. So Borderlands is my number one.
Before we discuss that movie, the only defense I have for Jack Black is his movies used to be great, School of Rock and Tropic Thunder, all that. Those back then, but nowadays, if you see Jack Black, it's going to be a terrible movie. Yeah. Like Minecraft looks horrendous. So
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't see this because I heard of how. I've never cared about this series. I tried the first one. I just couldn't do it. And but I remember seeing the casting, and I'm just, even me who has never played this game, I'm like, what? Jamie Lee Curtis?
Yeah.
Kate Blanchett? Like, apparently, from what I read, is that originally the script was really good, and that's why Kate Blanchett signed on to it, and then Eli Roth just butchered it and made it unbearable, and that's why it's so bad. That's what I read, at least. I don't know if it's true.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I read that too.
But yeah, and then Kevin Hart just playing Kevin Hart. It's just like, come on.
Yeah. Kevin Hart, he's up there with The Rock. Not really a great actor, although funny at times. He was hilarious. I love the scene of him in 40-Year-Old Virgin where he's arguing with Steve Carell in there. He's like, first of all, you're using too many big words. Now, because I don't understand them, I'm going to take it as disrespect. Watch your mouth. That was hilarious.
Yeah, he's great in that.
It's good. All right. I didn't watch this because I heard it was horrible. One of these days, as a guilty pleasure or just for the laughs, I might watch it. But yeah, I'm expecting it to be absolutely horrendous. That's what I've heard from everybody.
The only good thing about the movie is that it's incredibly short. It's only like 85 minutes or something.
That was like still... I saw Love Hurts yesterday. It was only 80 minutes long. And that's the only good thing about that movie, is that it was only 80 minutes long. And Kiwi Kwan is the lead actor in it, and I really like him. But other than that, horrible movie. So yeah, I'm never watching this.
Sean, any thoughts on this? Have you seen it?
I've not seen it, but the only thing I know is that movie poster for Borderlands looks like the movie poster for Holes. My second.
Oh yeah,
it's my second Holes reference this episode.
There we go.
There you go. All right, guys. So that's going to do it for us. That was our top 3 and worst 3 video game adaptations of all time. And with that, we're going to go ahead and head on out of here. Thank you guys for watching and listening to Games Over Plastic. Like we said before, leave us leave us comments, subscribe, leave us 5-star ratings. Check out Locke's YouTube channel. It's awesome. Support our boy. Let's go around the horn here and give our final thoughts. Let's go ahead and start with you, Hodge. Final thoughts for this episode, sir.
This was a lot of fun. I love talking about adaptations and stuff because I'm happy that it seems like, well, it's now becoming oversaturated, sadly, but I'm happy that they're actually trying to lean into the video game-ness of it. They're not afraid to do what like the games do. Like it was like, remember early on superhero movies where like in X-Men, they all wore black spandex or whatever because they were afraid of wearing the yellow and that kind of, like, they didn't want to admit what the source material was basically. And so that was early on video game movies. So the fact that we're actually getting, like, especially after The Last of Us and Fallout, everyone's like, oh no, we can make these really good if we actually want to. So it's nice to see that they're kind of improving. So hopefully we get to add more to the best list than the worst list other than Borderlands, because woof. But yeah, I'm happy that I love movies and TV obviously as much as I like video games. So being able to have my friends who don't maybe play video games be like, hey, watch this so you can get the story kind of thing. It's cool. So I love these adaptations, and this was fun. I'm happy we got Locke back on because you were our first, technically second guest also. I think you were on 2 episodes in a row back.
You was,
but,
huh?
Oh
yeah. So we're happy to have you back, and obviously you're welcome anytime you want.
Anytime. And with that segue, Lockmort, you got final thoughts for us, sir?
No, it's always a pleasure to see you guys. I'm so proud. Well, I don't have to be proud of you. I'm not your daddy, but you guys are doing amazing. I think it's so cool what you're doing here. It's so cool to see you guys grow, to see the numbers go up too. You really deserve it. Like I mentioned before, there's so many people starting their podcasts, and then it's always like, oh yeah, good job. But no, you guys are really doing great. I always listen to it. I always watch it. So awesome. Keep going at it. I can't wait to see where you go next. And I'm very, very grateful that you had me on again. Congrats on your 1 year. Great stuff.
Thank you. Yeah, you're always welcome. My final thoughts, just the same as always. I just want to say thank you guys for listening. We appreciate you. We love you. We love video games. I'm excited to play some more East 8 this weekend and get a little bit deeper. And yeah, it's good stuff. Video games are good. Sean, final thoughts, sir.
It was a great episode. I love talking video games with all of you guys. Locke, love when you're on. It's great. Love talking with you. You're a great person, great guy.
Mhm.
Can't wait to eventually meet you one day in person. Eventually.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, it's a great time. I can't believe it's been a year, guys. It feels like yesterday we started this. I remember. Yeah, just feels like yesterday. Midnight's the only one who's recorded in the same place every single time. I recorded that one episode in Hawaii. But yeah, I adore this show. I love doing this with you guys, and the more we do, the better it gets. Can't wait. Can't wait for the future.
Yeah. All right, boys. We're going to go ahead and get up out of here. We're going to ride off into the sunset. Enjoy the rest of your Monday, people. Thank you for listening. This has been Games Over Plastic, episode number 27, I think. Goodbye.
Bye.
Locke, say bye.
Oh, bye. Sorry, I never say bye on shows. Okay, bye.
Those bad movies. That was a low wattage affair. I'm telling you that right now. Low wattage affair.
Nice.